Welcome to today's Lost Souls, where we bring you the most impactful and unforgettable stories from around the world. Today, we remember the lives of remarkable individuals whose legacies continue to inspire and resonate. From iconic musicians to trailblazing activists, join us as we celebrate their extraordinary contributions and bid farewell to those who have left an indelible mark on our lives. Stay tuned for a journey through their incredible stories.
Joe Don Baker. Joe Don Baker, the tough-as-nails Texan whose powerful presence on screen turned him into an unforgettable American icon, has passed away at the age of 88. His journey was not just one of fame, but of grit, depth, and unexpected tenderness that touched generations of film lovers. Born on February 12, 1936, in Groesbeck, Texas, Joe Don grew up with dust on his boots and dreams in his eyes. The rugged landscapes of his youth shaped the kind of man he would become, firm in his stride, unshaken in his beliefs, and never far from his southern roots. After serving in the U.S. Army, he pursued acting, studying at the prestigious Actors Studio in New York City. But it was the silver screen that would become his battlefield and his stage. Joe Don's breakthrough came with the 1973 cult classic Walking Tall, where he played Buford Pusser, a real-life sheriff who took a stand against corruption with nothing but a big stick and a bigger heart. The role wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. It earned him praise, fame, and respect. Audiences didn't just watch Joe Don, they believed him. From gritty crime dramas like Charlie Varick to iconic roles in James Bond films like The Living Daylights and GoldenEye, Joe Don Baker brought a unique blend of intimidation and vulnerability. He could scare you with a look, but break your heart with a pause. Directors trusted him, co-stars admired him, and fans loved him. Because every time he stepped into a role, he didn't just act, he transformed. But beyond the screen, Joe Don was a private man. Those who knew him speak of a humble, soft-spoken soul who loved classic country music, southern cooking, and long drives through quiet places. Hollywood may have tried to cast him as the villain, but in life, he was often the quiet hero, supportive, sincere, and deeply grounded. As the world mourns his passing, we remember more than just the actor, we remember the man who brought a raw, American truth to every character he played. In an era of polished performances and digital tricks, Joe Don Baker remained fiercely authentic. He didn't just entertain, he embodied. He leaves behind a legacy of films that will continue to resonate, stories etched into the fabric of American cinema. Joe Don Baker didn't just walk tall, he stood tall. And now, he rests in peace. Charles Strouse. Charles Strouse, the legendary composer whose melodies lit up Broadway and warmed hearts around the world, has passed away at the age of 96. But while his earthly journey has come to a close, the music he gave us will echo forever in theaters, classrooms, and childhood memories across generations. Born on June 7, 1928, in New York City, Charles Strouse grew up surrounded by music. He studied classical composition, but his heart belonged to the stage, to the dazzling world where stories came alive in song. By the late 1950s, he found his place on Broadway, and it didn't take long for his brilliance to shine. In 1960, he burst onto the scene with Bye Bye Birdie, a vibrant, satirical, and deeply catchy musical about rock and roll and teen culture. With lyrics by longtime collaborator Lee Adams, Strauss's tunes, like Put on a Happy Face, became instant classics. Audiences were dazzled by his ability to blend humor, melody, and emotional resonance in a way that felt timeless. But he wasn't done. Not even close. Charles Strouse would go on to shape the very soul of musical theater with Annie in 1977, a show whose red-haired heroine and signature song, Tomorrow, became a symbol of hope and resilience for millions. That simple, soaring anthem, sung by children, embraced by families, echoed in times of hardship, spoke to the enduring optimism at the core of Strauss's work. Over the decades, he composed for the stage, for film, and for television, creating scores for Applause, Golden Boy, and Rags, among many others. His music earned him Tony Awards, Emmy Awards, and the respect of generations of performers and songwriters. Yet behind the accolades was a man of humility and relentless creativity. He believed in the power of storytelling, in lifting hearts through music. He mentored young composers, gave generously of his time, and never stopped writing, even in his later years. Charles Strouse didn't just write songs, he wrote emotions, dreams, laughter, and longing. He was the heartbeat behind some of Broadway's brightest moments, a composer who captured the spirit of his times and gave it melody. Though he may have taken his final bow, his music, like the sun in Annie, will always come out tomorrow. Robert Benton. Robert Benton, the Oscar-winning screenwriter and director who captured the intimate struggles of everyday people with remarkable grace, has passed away at the age of 92. Known for his deep understanding of human nature, Benton was a storyteller who never needed spectacle, he simply needed truth. Born on September 29, 1932, in Waxahachie, Texas, Benton's journey to Hollywood wasn't paved with the usual glitz. His roots were in journalism and illustration, but his heart belonged to narrative. He began as a magazine editor, but it was clear early on that his pen had something more to say. His first major success came as the co-writer of Bonnie and Clyde in 1967. That film didn't just break the rules of cinema, it rewrote them. With a mix of raw violence, tragic romance, and unconventional storytelling, Benton helped usher in a new era of American film. It was bold, it was brilliant, and it announced that Robert Benton was a force to be reckoned with. But his true masterpiece came in 1979 with Kramer vs. Kramer. A heartbreaking tale of a custody battle between a father and mother, the film resonated with audiences around the world. Benton wrote and directed it, crafting scenes so real, so vulnerable, that they felt lived rather than performed. The film won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay for Benton himself. In a career that spanned decades, Benton never chased trends. He stayed true to his quiet, contemplative style. Films like Places in the Heart and Nobody's Fool continued his legacy of deeply human storytelling, rich with emotion, flawed characters, and moments that felt pulled from life itself. Despite his success, Benton remained humble. He was never the loudest voice in the room, but he was often the wisest. Actors loved working with him because he listened, he understood, and he let the story breathe. Now, with his passing, the film world loses a craftsman of rare sensitivity. In a time of noise, Robert Benton's work was a whisper that moved you. His stories didn't demand your attention, they earned it. Robert Benton is gone, but the emotions he captured on screen, the heartbreaks, the reconciliations, the silent courage of ordinary people, will remain. His lens was small, focused, and honest. And in that honesty, he found something universal. José Pepe Mujica, José Mujica. José Pepe Mujica, former president of Uruguay and a man hailed across the globe as the poorest president in the world, has passed away at the age of 89. With him, the world loses more than a leader, it loses a symbol of simplicity, resistance, and unwavering integrity in the face of political power. Born on May 20, 1935, in Montevideo, Mujica's early life was steeped in hardship. He rose from modest beginnings and became a key figure in the Tupamaros guerrilla movement of the 1960s and 70s, a revolutionary force fighting against authoritarianism. Mujica was shot 6 times, captured multiple times, and spent nearly 15 years in prison, most of it in solitary confinement. But it was within that darkness that his philosophy was forged. When he emerged, he carried no bitterness, only perspective. He didn't chase revenge. He pursued democracy. In 2010, Mujica was elected president of Uruguay. And while many expected him to rise to the trappings of power, he shocked the world. He refused the presidential palace, instead choosing to live in his modest farmhouse on the outskirts of Montevideo. He donated 90% of his salary to charity. He wore no suit, drove an old Volkswagen Beetle, and harvested his own vegetables. But make no mistake, behind the humble exterior was a political mind of remarkable clarity. Mujica legalized marijuana, promoted LGBTQ+ rights, and expanded healthcare access. He wasn't driven by ideology. He was driven by the question, what helps the most people, with the least suffering? In speech after speech, he reminded world leaders that consumerism was killing the planet and robbing people of happiness. You don't own things, he once said. Things own you. To the youth, he was a grandfather of the revolution. To the elderly, he was a reminder that conviction and humility could coexist. And to the world, he was living proof that power doesn't have to corrupt. It can also reveal character. Now, with José Mujica's passing, a silence lingers, not one of defeat, but of reflection. His voice was never loud, but its echo will last for generations. Not because he lived like a saint, but because he dared to live like a man. In an age obsessed with more, Pepe Mujica proved the true richness of having less, and giving more. Sabu. Sabu Dastager, known simply to the world as Sabu, remains one of the most unforgettable faces of early Hollywood adventure cinema, a boy who rose from the stables of Mysore to international stardom, enchanting audiences with his natural charisma, athletic grace, and timeless charm. Though his passing came decades ago, at just 39 years of age in 1963, his legacy has only grown stronger with time. And today, we remember not just the actor, but the extraordinary journey of the man behind the legend. Born on January 27, 1924, in Mysore, British India, Sabu was the son of an elephant driver. He spent his earliest years among the animals and jungles of the region, never dreaming that his life would be transformed by a single encounter. At the tender age of 12, he was discovered by British documentary filmmaker Robert Flaherty, who cast him as the lead in the 1937 classic Elephant Boy. With no acting training, just an authentic spirit, Sabu lit up the screen, captivating viewers worldwide. From there, he became the go-to star for exotic adventure films in both Britain and the United States. The Thief of Baghdad, 1940, Jungle Book, 1942, and The Arabian Nights, 1942, transformed Sabu into a symbol of Eastern mystique. But beyond the magic carpets and jungles, he brought something deeper, a human warmth, a spark of sincerity that transcended borders. At a time when diversity in Hollywood was rare, Sabu broke barriers, playing leads, earning fame, and even joining the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II, where he served with bravery as a tail gunner and earned the Distinguished Flying Cross. Yet after the war, Hollywood changed. The roles dwindled. The industry that once embraced Sabu began to cast him aside, relegating him to smaller parts. But he never stopped working, never stopped providing for his family, never stopped carrying himself with the same pride that once brought him from the jungles of India to the hills of Hollywood. When Sabu died of a heart attack in 1963, the world lost more than an actor, it lost a symbol of innocence, adventure, and the dreams of a global cinema. He came from nothing and became everything, leaving behind a legacy carved not in stone, but in celluloid, in hearts, and in memory.
Madonna. Madonna remains an unmatched icon in the world of music, pop culture, and rebellion. While she is still alive, her life story reads like a legend, one that has inspired generations to be bold, unapologetic, and relentlessly true to themselves. In a world full of stars, Madonna built a universe around her, a place where boundaries were meant to be broken and voices were meant to be heard. Born Madonna Louise Ciccone on August 16, 1958, in Bay City, Michigan, she faced tragedy early when her mother died of cancer. That loss would shape the woman she became, fierce, independent, and unwilling to be defined by anyone else's expectations. She moved to New York City in the late 70s with just $35 in her pocket and a dream to conquer the world. That dream, as we now know, exploded into reality. By the time the 1980s arrived, Madonna had become a cultural hurricane. With hits like a Virgin, Material Girl, and Papa Don't Preach, she didn't just entertain, she challenged norms, provoked conversation, and turned music into a battleground for identity, sexuality, and freedom. Her style, ever-changing, always daring, was as iconic as her voice. She was never just a singer, she was a symbol. But beyond the shock value and headlines, Madonna was also a masterful artist. Her albums, from Ray of Light to Confessions on a Dance Floor, proved her depth, her ability to evolve, and her refusal to stay in one box. She directed films, wrote children's books, raised awareness about AIDS, LGBTQ+ rights, and poverty. She adopted children from Malawi, built schools, and used her platform for global change. Madonna's legacy is not just about her record-breaking tours or the fact that she is the best-selling female recording artist of all time. It's about how she empowered people to speak their truth. She gave women in the industry a blueprint for owning their power and taught the world that reinvention isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Even today, with decades in the spotlight, she continues to perform, provoke, and pave new roads. Madonna is a living legacy, a pioneer, a warrior, and a queen who built her throne with sweat, scars, and sheer brilliance. Wayne Osmond. Wayne Osmond was a vital thread in the fabric of American pop culture, a member of one of the most iconic musical families in the world. As a core part of the Osmonds, Wayne's life was filled with music, family, and a deep commitment to spreading joy through harmony. His voice, his presence, and his musical talent helped define an era where family bands were at the heart of wholesome entertainment. Born on August 28, 1951, in Ogden, Utah, Wayne was one of 9 children in the Osmond family. From an early age, music was not just a hobby, it was a way of life. Trained under the keen guidance of their parents, the Osmond siblings formed a tight-knit group, and Wayne quickly stood out for his smooth vocals and skilled guitar work. He was also known for his warm personality and sense of humor, which endeared him to fans across the world. The Osmonds first found fame as a barbershop quartet on The Andy Williams Show, but it wasn't long before they evolved into pop sensations. As the group transitioned into rock and pop music in the 1970s, Wayne played a crucial role in their success. Hits like One Bad Apple, Yo-Yo, and Crazy Horses dominated the charts, and Wayne's performances were marked by both energy and heart. He wasn't just another face on stage, he was a true showman. Wayne was more than a performer, he was also a songwriter and instrumentalist who helped craft the band's unique sound. Though younger brother Donnie often took the spotlight, Wayne's contributions behind the scenes, arranging music, writing lyrics, and perfecting harmonies, were instrumental in keeping the group at the top of their game. Despite the fame, Wayne remained grounded. His Mormon faith, deep family ties, and personal humility kept him focused on what truly mattered. Even as the Osmonds toured the world and appeared on countless television specials, Wayne prioritized his role as a brother, husband, and father. In later years, Wayne bravely battled multiple health challenges, including a brain tumor. But even in the face of adversity, he continued to perform when he could, often alongside his siblings in reunion shows that thrilled loyal fans. His courage and resilience inspired many, both within and outside the music industry. Wayne Osmond leaves behind not only a catalog of beloved songs but also a legacy of kindness, strength, and enduring family values. His harmonies may have faded from the stage, but they remain eternal in the hearts of millions who grew up singing along to the Osmonds. His story reminds us that fame may come and go, but family, faith, and music live forever. Benton Wood. Benton Wood was more than just a soul singer, he was the voice behind an entire era of love, groove, and smooth West Coast soul. Best known for his timeless hits like Gimme Little Sign and the Oogum Boogum song, Benton brought joy to millions through music that was as heartfelt as it was catchy. His passing marks the end of a golden chapter in American R&B history, but the echo of his voice will continue to resonate through generations. Born as Alfred Jesse Smith on July 26, 1941, in Shreveport, Louisiana, he moved with his family to San Pedro, California, at a young age. Even as a child, Benton had a unique ear for melody. Inspired by legends like Sam Cooke and Jesse Belvin, he started crafting his own sound early on, merging doo-wop, rhythm and blues, and pop into something truly unique. It was during his college days that he adopted the stage name Benton Wood, a name that would soon become synonymous with feel-good soul. His big break came in 1967 with the release of the Oogum Boogum song. With its playful lyrics and infectious rhythm, the song became an instant hit, catapulting Benton into the limelight. Just months later, Gimme Little Sign followed, solidifying his place in music history. The track climbed the Billboard charts and became a worldwide hit, earning gold record status and becoming a staple on radio stations for decades. But Benton was never one to chase fame. He stayed close to his roots, often performing in community events, soul revivals, and old-school R&B concerts. Despite his stardom, he remained deeply connected to his fans, many of whom regarded him not just as a performer, but as a friend whose music accompanied the most important moments of their lives. In later years, Benton continued recording and performing, often infusing his music with themes of love, peace, and spirituality. His concerts were full of life, featuring a mix of nostalgic charm and youthful energy that belied his age. He had a way of making every performance feel personal, like he was singing directly to each member of the audience. Offstage, Benton was a family man and a mentor to younger artists, always ready to offer advice and encouragement. He believed in the healing power of music and saw it as a bridge between generations. For him, music wasn't about fame, it was about connection. Benton Wood's legacy lies not just in chart-topping singles, but in the warmth he brought to the world. His songs will continue to play at weddings, cookouts, reunions, and road trips, moments where love and joy take center stage. Though he may no longer be with us, his voice lives on, whispering reminders of a time when music truly moved the soul.